All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan, and happy Australia Day. Australia is the best country in the world. I know your country is probably good too, and that's how it should be. We should all love the country we live in. I didn't take nationalism very seriously until very recently, but I have come to realize one thing, that if you don't love the country that you live in, be prepared to lose it. Now, I know Australia is a complex country. It's a complex society. Some people might not even like me. Some people might even say that you're not an Australian and even you don't deserve to live in Australia, which is fair enough. We have free speech and I value free speech. I value your opinion. I don't agree with it because I love this country just as much as anyone else. My loyalties don't lie anywhere. I don't believe Pakistan is a better country. I believe Australia is a better country. I wasn't born here, but I sure as hell will die here. First of all, if you live in a first world country, then it means it is a first world country for a reason. It has functioning institutes. It has rule of law. It has good governance. That was built over many generations through hard work and determination. Just look at other third world countries, especially immigrants like myself, because I come from Pakistan. Pakistan is a third world hellhole, not because it doesn't have mountains or rivers or natural resources. It's a third world country because its people haven't been able to manage it. In contrast, Australia is a first world country because its people made it that way. Therefore, we should all be nationalistic. We should all value and cherish it. And one of the ways of cherishing it is showing your love for that country. And having said that, I also acknowledge the Aboriginal community of Australia are the original people of this land. I have nothing but love and respect for them. And I wish them best of luck. I want them to prosper. I want them to exceed in life. I want them to live amazing, healthy lives in this beautiful modern Australia that we live in. But there are some actors, some people who hate this country so much that their sole purpose is to sow the seeds of division, cause anarchy, cause chaos, and weaken our country. Who are those people? Let me show you one such example. Look at this clown. He is actually a city councillor in New South Wales. This guy is an Egyptian immigrant, so he wasn't even born here. He came to Australia as an immigrant from Egypt because he understood that life in Egypt was miserable. Egypt is one of the earliest civilizations on earth. Egypt gave us pharaohs and the pyramids. It's a great civilization, but unfortunately, in the last 500 years or so, it hasn't been doing so well, which is the reason why this guy, Ahmed Woof Woof, came to Australia. Now, before I play you the video, I have to say that I've noticed amongst Muslims, wherever they go, they suddenly become very interested in the rights of the indigenous people, whether that's Canada or America or Australia, when in reality, this is the culture that invaded many cultures and completely destroyed the native culture. They conquered Spain, they conquered Portugal, they conquered Syria, the Byzantine Empire, North Africa, India, but they never talk about them. He would never talk about the millions of African slaves whose lives his culture destroyed. They'll never talk about that. He came to Australia as an immigrant. Why did you come to Australia if you hated it so much? If the Holocaust of the Aboriginal people had begun on 26th of January 1788, which is the day when Arthur Phillip planted the flag of Britain at Sydney Cove, if that day was such a horrible day, then why did you come to Australia? I'll tell you why you came to Australia. In search of a better life. In search of a life that was made possible because of that day. People don't like to talk about what life was like for Aboriginal people before 1788. What was it like? Very rough. Let me play you this infuriating video.
The Australian Holocaust began on 26th of January 1788. At that time, Australia was home to around 1 million Aboriginal people.
You know what? He's only angry. It's the white Europeans who came to Australia. He would wish that his fellow Muslims had conquered Australia, which eventually would have happened. Too bad for him. Europeans were better at exploring.
These were stable societies that lived for tens of thousands of years.
Stable societies.
What followed was catastrophic massacres, genocide, ethnic cleansing.
A lot of that is BS, simple BS. Early settlers were very different from early settlers in America. Even in America, a lot of native population died because of disease, which was an unforeseeable consequence of European settlements. But there were not as many conflicts in Australia as in America. It's just because Australia was colonized 2 or 3 centuries later. So the Brits had become more civilized and they were taking better care of the indigenous population. In fact, I think it was in the early 19th century, white people were hanged for massacring Aboriginal people. I think it's called the 9 Mile Massacre. So I'm not saying the Aboriginal people didn't suffer. They absolutely suffered. But this is an exaggeration. This clown will never talk about his culture massacring the African population or the East European women that they enslaved. They don't care about Aboriginal people. They don't care about the native populations. They don't care. They have zero interest in them. They only care about exploiting the fault lines to cause anarchy and civil unrest. They are only here to shame Australians for simply existing, for being proud of their history, their culture, their values, and the great country that they've created. Look around you. It's the best country. I welcome everyone to come and see Australia for yourself. But it also pains me that Australia is losing its way because we have allowed too many ungrateful bastards into our country. People like him, and look at him, he's actually a councillor. He's been given an ultimate privilege to have a leadership role, and this is what he has to say. This is akin to spitting in the face of the country that gave you a good life. I'm sorry, we have to be ruthless. I'm sorry, this is unacceptable. We can't be shamed for existing. What an ungrateful bastard.
Introduce disease, the destruction.
They were bringing these viruses in a test tube and they said, you know what, let's give them to the native population. As if they knew. They did not know about this.
Plan, food systems, families, and
food systems. Aboriginal people had a very rudimentary lifestyle. This is not a dig at the Aboriginal community. They weren't competing with advanced civilizations around them. There was no need to invent agriculture. They lived in a totally different environment.
And food systems, families, and culture. By early 1800, the population had already collapsed from 1 million to around 600,000. As colonization expanded throughout the mid-1800s, the numbers fell again. By 1901, only around 90,000 Aboriginal people remained. Less than 10% of the original population, more than 9 out of 10 were wiped out. People who lived here for tens of thousands of years peacefully.
Peacefully. He would not survive a day in a real Aboriginal community even today.
With nature. This isn't about asking you to apologize for something you didn't do. It's about telling the truth, because the truth is the foundation of justice.
So what truth? We know that. Where did you get these numbers? It's the Australians who gave you these numbers. It's modern anthropology gave you this number. These people don't care about Australia. They just want you to apologize for existing. They want you to apologize for the great country that we've created. But instead, you know what? They have awakened a monster. People who were not really nationalistic are now becoming nationalistic. We're going to fight back. We're going to demand harsher laws. We're going to demand cancellation of visas and even citizenships of these ungrateful people. And we're going to say loudly and proudly, Happy Australia Day.